Howdy folks. Today we're going to try something a little different than my usual destination flights. It's been a while since I've uploaded a video. Been having some technical issues, but slowly getting them resolved. In the meantime, we'll upload a video here. We're going to take this, we're at Niagara Falls International Airport, and we're going to take this Autogyro on a tour of Niagara Falls. I recently acquired the Scenic software from the org store, photorealistic scenery of Niagara Falls. So for those folks who don't live around here and have never seen the falls, we'll get you better acquainted with it. A little tour in this Autogyro. This is an updated version, which fortunately has helped a great deal with landing. This thing is a little bit squirrely to fly, but once you get used to it, it's not so bad. But it does have a really great view out the front, so you'll get a nice view of Niagara Falls. The photorealistic scenery is okay. It's not great, but it's better than what Laminar provided. So let's get inside here, get her started up, throttle the battery on. There we are. Generator, avionics, nav lights, and strobe. We don't need the landing lights. First thing we need to do is spin up the rotor before we attempt to take off. So release the brakes, put the brakes on, get the RPMs up a little bit, and hit the pre-rotor switch. The only thing I'm not sure of in this instrument panel is the airspeed indicator. Seems to be a little high, but okay. Release the pre-rotor and get ourselves down the runway and into the air. Whoa, yeah. This thing does climb quite aggressively once it gets in the air. There we are. Get ourselves somewhat leveled off here. And let's get ourselves headed toward Scenic Falls. Like I said, the airspeed indicator, I don't know if we're really going that fast or if it's just a bad indicator. But we do have to keep the RPMs under control. Alright, there's the Niagara River. Technically it's a strait between Lakes Erie and Ontario, but everybody calls it a river. Okay, this area of dark water up ahead is the start of the payware scenery. You can see the line of demarcation there between the default scenery and the payware. Yeah, get our speed down again, and it looks like we're, like I said, I'm not used to this airspeed indicator. I don't think we're really going that fast. We'll try and keep our speed around 80 knots. Okay. This bridge here is the North Grand Island Bridge. Just to our left is Grand Island. That small island up ahead is Navy Island. That's Canadian territory. And this line of green water here is the start of the payware scenery. River pretty much looks like that for real. This thing does have an autopilot, but it's a little on the squirrely side. So I prefer to just leave it alone. Hand fly it. Seems to be all about RPM with this thing. We take the RPMs, keep it around 5,000. We should be able to hold our speed in the yellow without climbing. Up ahead and to our left is Canada, and Niagara Falls, New York, USA to our right. Okay, those two towers dead ahead. The one on the left is the old Seagram Tower in Niagara Falls, Ontario. The one on the right is the Cavalon. Both have been there since the 1960s. Cavalon, I think, is a rotating restaurant, but I don't think I've ever been up there. Here's the upper rapids as we approach the Horseshoe Falls. Those are down a little bit here, just to get a look. This is Goat Island that we're passing over now, and the American Falls here on our right. We'll get a better view of both of these once we get turned around as we get further downriver. Yeah, let's get our altitude back up. Okay, let's get let's turn downriver a bit here. Okay, this is the lower Niagara River. Get a better view of the falls as we come back up. Looks pretty calm now, but up ahead we've got some very nasty rapids that no one has successfully been able to navigate, as far as I know. I think they're class 5 or whatever the nastiest class of rapids is. That would be these. This is the whirlpool. The river makes a sharp bend here, and the whirlpool was dug out as the falls moved back from where it started up in Lake Ontario. And there's the border of the scenery line. We'll go down a little further here. This up ahead is the Robert Moses power plant. Water comes into the reservoir up above here from the river through a couple of huge underground tunnels that they built back in the 50s. And makes its way down through the turbines and generates electricity. This on the left is the Sir Adam Beck power plant. Also, I think that was built before Robert Moses, but that's generating station. This here up ahead where the land levels out, this is the escarpment. This is where the falls was born about 50,000 years ago, after the last ice age melted off. Lake Ontario was actually, the shoreline was here at the escarpment. That's Lake Ontario up ahead. As the lake receded back to where it is now, the falls started here. This is the town of Lewiston. And across the river from Lewiston is Queenston, Ontario. Get ourselves turned back around here. This bridge we see is not actually down that far. They badly modeled it. It's actually level with the the land masses on either side. It's a really bad modeling job. This is laminar scenery, not Ortho 4XP also, and SFD Global, but it's still not accurate. So the falls chewed its way back through the rock all the way to where it is now. Like I said, it took about 50,000 years to get there, and it eventually will make its way all the way back to Lake Erie in probably a few thousand years. Engineers in the past have tried to, well, you're not going to stop the movement of the falls, but they have slowed it down some. The way it works is you've got a layer of rock on capping a layer of Lockport dolomite, very hard rock, capping a layer of shale, which is soft. So as the falls digs away at the shale, as the water goes over, it leaves the dolomite overhanging, and eventually it breaks off under its own weight, and the falls moves back by that amount. This is how it's made its way back here over the last 50,000 years. The whirlpool was there used to be a tributary coming into the river from up in Canada somewhere. It dried up, silted up, filled in, and as the falls got here, it chewed through all that silt and created this large bend in the river. And If you do get your boat get caught in the whirlpool, assuming you make it that far, not very likely to get out. Well, I've heard there's some very large sturgeon swimming around down in there. It's really good fishing. Here we are at the lower rapids, approaching the falls. This sandy area to our left on the gorge wall here used to be a power plant there. It collapsed back in the 50s, and they just filled it all in. Takeoff power plant. I guess that's when they decided to build the Robert Moses plant. This bridge up ahead is the Rainbow Bridge connecting U.S. and Canada. The falls was here at this location about the time Christ was born. So in 2,000 years, it's moved from where this bridge is to where it is now. We won't fly under the bridge. Not that I haven't done it. Not in real life, of course, but in the simulator I have flown under it. Okay, this is an observation tower on our left here on the American side. Looks like it's floating above everything. This is the American Falls to our left. It's actually more impressive than this, but with all the rocks and things, they've done a fair job of modeling it. Goat Island straight ahead here, and the Canadian Horseshoe Falls dead ahead. It's a casino off to our right. People have gone over this falls in barrels, without barrels. Most haven't survived, some have. Back in 1957, a kid in a life jacket fell out of a boat that had stalled upriver, and he went over and survived. Roger Woodward. Kind of a famous little kid at the time. Go over the falls in a life jacket and live. People have gone over the American Falls, but nobody survives it. The rocks are just too vicious. Back in 1969, they built a cofferdam here at these, where you see this line here. And that was when they stopped the flow over the American Falls so they could study the rocks and see if they could reduce the erosion. They decided that the rocks couldn't be taken out. They couldn't stop the erosion. They did put some large rods with bolts in there to slow down the collapse of the cap rock. But eventually it'll take over. Okay, let's head back to the airport. Well, that was a tour of the falls. I don't know how impressed you are with it, but if you've never seen it before, it'll give you a rough idea what it looks like. Okay, there's the airport up ahead. Get ourselves slowed down here. Took off from runway 6. I guess we can probably land on that same runway. Autogyro is kind of like a helicopter without a powered rotor. The rotor is powered by the airflow from the forward flight from the pusher propeller. So we have no collective pitch, and we're at the mercy of rotor RPM. We can auto-rotate, but again, we have to be keeping somewhat forward motion because that's the only thing driving the rotor. Okay. The PAPI lights don't seem to be working. I got 4 whites, but I should have some red. Oh, we do have a stabilized approach. Maybe it'll work out. Like I said, I have had some interesting landings in this thing. It can be a bit squirrely to fly. And you definitely don't want to put the rotor brake on too soon, or you end up flipping yourself over. Okay, well, that wasn't bad. And get ourselves parked over here. That's good enough. Okay, parking brake on, rotor brake on, rotor brake off, and everything off. Kill the engine, battery off. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed it. This is a interesting airplane to fly, half airplane, half helicopter. So might want to try it. It was a freebie on the org download section, and it wasn't. I just downloaded the latest update. Like I said, it was a lot squirrelier to land before, but it's much more stable now. They've made some improvements. So I hope you enjoyed your tour of Niagara Falls, and we'll pick it up with destination flights again as soon as I get my technical issues straightened out. So have a nice day, and we'll see you on the next flight.